Welcome everyone to the second stop for Bucks County Police Week. We had just came from Bensalem Township, and then we will go to Middletown Township, and then certainly the county service this evening in Newtown at 7 p.m. I just wanted to take a minute to thank certainly all the Bensalem Township police officers, other police officers from around the county, all our guests, and certainly our elected officials, the mayor, our state representative, our state senator, U.S. Congressman Fitzpatrick, as well as all our council folks that are here today. I see them, and our two judges and many other individuals for coming out and helping to honor the police officers throughout Bucks County, and certainly Officer Armstrong and Yezi in Bensalem Township that were killed in the line of duty. And without further ado, the national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave,
For our invocation, I would like to call up Rabbi Moshe Trevitsky.
Mr. Mayor, Representative DiGirolamo, Senator Tomlinson, Director Herron, honored dignitaries, police officers, members of the Yezi and Armstrong family, and honored guests. This past year, we've seen horrible attacks on innocent Americans. Ordinary citizens going about their normal daily lives have been attacked by fanatics for no reason, other than the hatred of Americans and what they stand for. We're not talking about Paris or Belgium. On last July 16th, 5 people were left dead by a fanatic in the Chattanooga Naval Center. On December 2nd in San Bernardino, 14 people were killed when a holiday party was shot up by a very religious couple. On January 7th, here in our backyard in Philadelphia, a gunman shot at Philadelphia police officer Jesse Harnett 13 times. Miraculously, Officer Harnett survived and managed to shoot the suspect who confessed to committing the crime in the name of Islam. Somehow, as simple and as basic as the ideas of liberty and justice may seem to us, they are not taken that way to millions of people around the world. Chanting death to America, burning U.S. flags, are activities that children in many countries are routinely taught to do. We must be grateful that our country is not subjected to terror like France and Belgium. But kid yourself not. We do live under a threat of violence. The days of serenity, the days when kids didn't have to practice lockdowns, the days when our only word was local crime are gone forever. In the hearts of the everyday citizens of this great country and the hearts of all residents of the township of Bensalem is our greatest respect and admiration for the men and women of our police force. Let us stand up and show respect as we honor the men and women of this police force here in Bensalem, who risk their lives on a daily basis to uphold justice and to maintain law and order. Our ability to raise families in a normal manner, to live a life free of crime and violence, is due in no small part to the bravery of these men and women. Let us teach our children, let us teach our congregants, let us teach our neighbors and our friends that police officers deserve our respect. Police officers deserve our gratitude, and police officers deserve our friendship. While politicians on national levels may be busy defending the rights of terrorists and murderers, let this gathering be an expression of protest and of sanity in a world where insanity has so often become the norm, where in so many ways there seems no moral compass to guide us. Our traditions teach us the paramount importance of authority, of law and order, to ensure the values of life. It's to the officers of this police force that we owe a never-ending debt of gratitude for their sacrifice in making sure we have this gift. We thank and recognize God's messengers, the brave men and women of this police force who stand before us today. It's to each and every one of them that we feel and owe a tremendous debt of gratitude and recognition. Today, we remember Robert Yezzi and James Armstrong, those officers who made the ultimate sacrifice here in our town of Bensalem. Officers who gave all they had so we could live our lives without the fear of tyranny and evil. May their memory be blessed. May the Yezzi and Armstrong families find strength in the knowledge that their lives went to help others, to bring good to a world that has so much evil. Their lives were not given in vain, but in the ultimate expression of care for others. May their light illuminate the darkness that is cast in this world by forces of hate, oppression, and darkness. And let us close with a prayer. May God cherish the memory of those who have fallen in the life of duty. May He give strength to their loved ones to carry on with life. May He reward all those who care for those special families. May He protect the officers who risk their lives daily to make this world a safe and better place for all. And may He make them successful in their great work. May we soon see the day that the prophet Isaiah promised will come, when all of humanity will unite and the world will be full of knowledge of God as the waters fill the sea. And let us say, Amen.
Thank you, Rabbi. Each year I never know really the theme or what I'm going to say, with the exception of quoting some statistics and certainly closing with talking about Jimmy and Bob and their ultimate sacrifice. But as of last week, there were certain things I was going to say, and then over the weekend that was changed. It was changed, and I retook some notes last night when we got back from Washington, D.C. This is starting my 30th year here in Bensalem Township from New York City. I didn't think I'd be in Bensalem for 30 years, but here I am 30 years. And over those 30 years, some things have impacted me, some things I'll never forget, as in the officers that have the years of my time, and then the brand new officers that have less than just a couple of months on the street. They will have memories, and the retired officers, of things that'll stand out. And to me, there are certain things that I'll never forget. One is being the first arriving officer on Easter 1990 to a horrible homicide scene. Christmas Eve to a brutal, violent domestic with children crying as their parents fought in the house destroyed. To other incidents, being woken up in the middle of the night on a weekend where we had multiple shootings in Bensalem Township, which really was unheard of. To an instance of the weekend of a violent homicide that just happened a day ago in Bensalem Township. But some of the things that I'll never forget is what I experienced from Friday to Sunday this past weekend. I had the honor and the privilege of, for the first time in 30 years, going to Washington, D.C. for Policeman Mayoral. And the fact that there's no more room on the walls that were built is a problem. And we were looking architecturally, how are they going to do this? And it was said that they built the walls so the walls will go up. And they will have to start building those walls up. There's no other room left. But even that wasn't as disturbing as what I'm about to tell you. The families, the children left crying, walking by those walls. And you walk up to the walls and you're walking through D.C. and you're having a good time being with fellow officers and people from all over the world. From the Bobbies yesterday we met, and the officers from Australia, because they don't quite have the services in other countries that they do here in the United States, and officers around from every state and every city from this great nation. But it was the children and the families that no one spoke for, that just their lives had to go on. They didn't riot in the streets. They didn't graffiti the walls and break the walls down in Washington. They didn't throw stones at the White House or destroy the Capitol. But yesterday we had a very nice service at the Capitol by an individual who gave the commencement speech that I never heard of until yesterday. Her name was the Deputy Attorney General, Sally Yates. Most of you have probably never heard her name because the President of the United States was too busy giving a commencement speech at Rutgers, which, by the way, was in the plannings for 2 years, so he couldn't break free for that. Well, guess what, Mr. President? Police Memorial's May 15th every year. The date doesn't change. But we couldn't get the Vice President or even the Attorney General or any major secretary. We got a Deputy Attorney General. People don't realize what goes on in this country with fallen police officers, but we sure do know the names of Michael Brown, Freddie Gray, and Eric Garner, and the names continue. We know those names like we hear them every day. But here's some names that I'm going to know from now on. Some names like Officer Greg Surlis from Pell City Police Department from Alabama, end of watch, July 4, 2008. New York State Trooper Corporal Leroy Baker, end of watch, August 1930. Detective Andrew Fago from New Haven, Connecticut, end of watch, January 11, 2012. Officer Greg Myers, NYPD, end of watch, March 22, 1932. Officer Mel Ketty, East Kensington, New Hampshire, end of watch, September 7, 1995. U.S. Park Ranger Julie Weir, end of watch, February 24th, 2011. I'll remember those names and forget the others that I just mentioned. I had the honor of breaking bread with Billy Porter. Billy Porter, if you don't know, is one of the Baltimore Six, who's going to be retried in a joke of a trial in Baltimore. Billy Porter, I didn't know anything about him except for what I read in the paper and what I heard the media say. This guy is one of the nicest guys you'd ever want to meet. His demeanor, laid back, calm, mild-mannered, soft-spoken. And all we know and all America knows is what the press is talking about Billy Porter. These are the things from Easter 1990, Christmas Eve some years back that I'll remember and I'll never forget this weekend. Over 900,000 U.S. law enforcement officers in the United States. Violent crime, the 1.2 million violent crime is down from 2014. But police fatalities are down 8%. And that's a good thing. And police fatalities are down because we get support from our elected officials. And here in Bensalem, most of them support us. But why are those numbers down? Because we have better training. Because we have the officers throughout Bucks County and dedicated to our job. But gunfire by police officers is up 42%. Ambushes 3 times have increased over the last couple of years. These are things that we can't predict for. These things sometimes are hard to train for because of what the media and what some of our high-end elected officials in Washington are not backing police. And the officers here continue to do an outstanding job, with burglary decreasing 43% and robbery decreasing 55%. Injuries to Bensalem police officers have been up 31%, though, because they work hard to make sure these numbers continue to decrease. They do an outstanding job here in Bensalem, and I'm proud to be 30 years here. But let us never forget the 2 most important dates in Bensalem history, and that is April 15th, 1975. 28-year-old James Armstrong, a 5-year veteran of the Bensalem Township police officer, was the first Bensalem police officer killed in the line of duty. He was shot and killed along Route 13 by an individual who recently committed an armed robbery in Bristol Township. And then tragedy struck again 3 years later. August 12, 1980, 29-year-old officer Robert Yezzi, a 3-year veteran, was struck and killed by a motor vehicle conducting an investigation on an armed subject, a pedestrian. When that individual lunged at Officer Yezzi and Officer Tony Ryle, who's here with us today, thank God, they took evasive maneuvers. Tony was injured and was able to come back to work. Robert Yezzi was not. And he was killed in the line of duty on August 12, 1980. Support each other, and I thank the elected officials that support us every day to keep us going. And I urge everyone to get to Washington, D.C., law enforcement and civilian, because you'll never forget it. Mayor Joseph DiGirolamo.
Good morning, everyone. It's something we've been doing here my entire political career, is to meet here, and it's one of the saddest days that I do every year. And as I look out at our law enforcement men and women here and the great job that they do, I know Fred just gave you some statistics. Well, I have to tell you, I think he said some of them went down. Maybe they did, but I don't see it. I see that we have more problems here every day, and I'm just pointing to Bensalem, but to the whole area around us. I have pledged myself to this police department. I will never, ever, ever let them down for one instance. the incredible job that they do, and they do in the memory of those two men that lost their lives, Armstrong and Yezi. And we come up here, what a sad day to have to do this here. Wouldn't it be nice if we didn't have to stop in Bensalem for that? But that's not what happened. And we will continue to keep this the safest township, the safest place to be. You know where we're located. It couldn't be much worse. Between Philadelphia, Trenton, New York's a stone's throw. Everything comes through Bensalem. These men and women every day go out there and put their lives on the line for us. And we never, ever should see a name added to this day that we do here. In no way. Never take for granted what goes on and the jobs that they have to do. You don't know when you pull over a car what can happen. We know that. And when I swear in a police officer, the first thing I always tell them to be safe. Don't take anything for granted. You don't know what's lurking out there. You're in a city that has 95 turnpike, 2 rail lines, major highways. It all goes through here, ladies and gentlemen. It all goes through Bensalem. And if you don't think that you have the best police department, I'm going to say, because I think we are in the country. I know we are in Bucks. I know we are in this area. I get the calls when Fred calls me when something happens. My heart bleeds. Yesterday morning, a young woman lost her life right here. Crazy thing. But this is happening. Please, please don't take our police department for granted. There are those here that do. Believe me, there are those here who do. I will just tell you again to the Armstrong and Yezi families, may God bless you and continue to give you the strength to go through that. We do it here once a year. You do it every day. God bless you.
Every year we have a tradition for the policeman's prayer. Jimmy Nolan.
Good morning, everybody. I'll tell you, it's really great to see the amount of people every year that turns out to remember our slain officers. And we must never forget their sacrifice. Somebody killed a policeman today, and a part of America died. A piece of our country he swore to protect will be buried with him at his side. The suspect who shot him will stand up in court with counsel demanding his rights, while a young widowed mother must work for her kids and spend many long, lonely nights. The beat that he walked was a battlefield too, just as if he'd gone off to war. Though the flag of our nation won't fly at half-mast, to his name they will add a gold star. Yep, somebody killed a policeman today, in your town or mine, while we slept in comfort behind our locked doors. A cop put his life on the line. Now his ghost walks a beat on a dark city street, and he stands at each new rookie's side. He answered the call, of himself gave his all, and a part of America died. My prayer today for you guys, that the Lord God will guide you, protect you, and keep you safe, and hold you fast in the palm of his hand. And thank you for your service.
Thank you, Jim. Now we will have the placing of the wreaths. Jack and Carol Armstrong, Jimmy's brother and sister-in-law, and Jackie and Jim, Jimmy's son and daughter. Josephine and Joseph Callagher, Bob Yezi's sister and brother-in-law. Now the placing of the wreath by the Bucks County Chiefs Association. Just would like to thank everyone again for coming out, especially all our retired officers and our elected officials, and of course all the police officers throughout Bucks County and Bensalem. We have light refreshments, and we will be in Middletown at noon, and again in Newtown at 7. I thank everyone for their attendance, and thank you for your support and coming out today.